Hey everyone, welcome back to Speak Next English podcast, where we help you learn English naturally.
If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button so you never miss our conversations.
Today we're talking about something super important, how to discipline your thinking for success.
Yeah, this is a topic that really changed my life when I started understanding it.
Same here. So, James, what does it actually mean to discipline your thinking anyway?
Great question. Disciplining your thinking means controlling the thoughts that go through your mind every day.
Exactly, because our minds can be pretty wild sometimes, jumping from one thought to another.
Haha, that's so true. It's like having a puppy that runs everywhere without any training.
Perfect analogy. So, how do we start training our minds to think in better ways?
The first step is becoming aware of your thoughts, which sounds simple but is actually challenging.
Right. Most people don't even notice what they're thinking about throughout the entire day.
I used to be like that too. My mind would just wander without me paying attention.
So, what changed for you? How did you become more aware of your thinking patterns?
I started practicing something called thought journaling, where you write down your thoughts during the day.
That sounds interesting. Can you explain how thought journaling actually works in real life?
Sure, you basically pause a few times daily and note what you were just thinking about.
And what did you discover when you started doing this with your own thoughts regularly?
I was shocked to find how many negative thoughts I had without even realizing it.
That's a common problem. Our brains naturally focus on negative things to protect us from danger.
Exactly. It's called negativity bias, and it's been part of human survival for thousands of years.
But in modern life, this negativity bias can actually hold us back from achieving our goals.
Totally agree. So the next step in disciplining your thinking is challenging these negative thoughts directly.
Can you give us an example of how to challenge a negative thought effectively?
Okay, let's say you think, I'm terrible at learning English and I'll never improve at all.
Right, that's a very common thought that many English learners have when they feel frustrated.
So instead of accepting that thought, you challenge it by looking for evidence against it.
You might ask yourself, have I learned any new words this week or month successfully?
Exactly, and usually you'll find plenty of evidence that you are actually making real progress slowly.
This technique is called cognitive restructuring, and it's used in psychology to help people think better.
Cognitive restructuring. That's a big term. Let's break it down for our listeners here today.
Cognitive means related to thinking, and restructuring means changing how your thoughts are structured to make them more helpful and positive.
Perfect explanation. Now, let's talk about another important aspect of disciplining your thinking, which is focus.
Oh, yes, focus is huge. In today's world, we're constantly distracted by phones and social media.
I know, right? I sometimes pick up my phone without even thinking about why I did it.
We all do that. It's because our brains are wired to seek new information constantly.
But this constant distraction makes it really hard to discipline our thinking and stay on track longer.
So, how do we improve our focus and train our minds to stay concentrated longer?
One powerful method is called the Pomodoro technique, which uses timed intervals for focused work sessions.
I've heard of that. You work for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break, right?
Exactly. This technique helps your brain learn to focus deeply for short periods without getting overwhelmed completely.
And after 4 of these sessions, you take a longer break of 15 or 20 minutes.
The beauty of this method is it trains your mind to concentrate intensely when needed.
Plus, those regular breaks prevent burnout and keep your thinking sharp throughout the entire day.
Absolutely. Now, let's discuss another key element of disciplined thinking, which is managing your inner dialogue effectively.
Inner dialogue? You mean like the voice in your head that talks to you all day, daily?
Yes, exactly. Everyone has this internal voice that comments on everything we do and experience daily.
And for many people, that voice is pretty harsh and critical most of the time, unfortunately.
Haha, that's a funny way to put it, but it's also sadly true for many people.
So, disciplining your thinking means changing that inner voice to be more supportive and constructive instead.
How do we actually do that, though? Can we really change how we talk to ourselves?
Absolutely. The first step is catching yourself when you use harsh words against yourself and thoughts.
Then what? Do we just try to think positive thoughts instead of the negative ones?
Not exactly, because forcing positive thoughts doesn't work when you don't actually believe them at all.
So what's the better approach to changing our inner dialogue more effectively and naturally?
You replace harsh criticism with constructive feedback, just like a good coach would do for you.
Can you give me an example so our listeners can understand this concept more clearly?
Sure, instead of saying, I'm so stupid for making that mistake again, you say something different.
You could say, I made a mistake, but I can learn from this and improve next time.
Exactly. See how the second statement is still honest, but also helpful and forward-looking in nature.
That makes total sense. It acknowledges the mistake without destroying your confidence or self-esteem completely here.
Right, and over time, this gentler inner dialogue actually helps you improve faster than harsh criticism.
That's really interesting. It's almost counterintuitive because we think being hard on ourselves helps us improve.
I know, but research shows that self-compassion leads to better performance in learning than self-criticism does.
Wow, that's good to know. Now, what about worrying thoughts about the future?
Oh, that's another huge challenge for disciplining your thinking. Worry can be really mentally exhausting.
Yeah, I sometimes spend hours worrying about things that never even end up happening at all.
That's because our brains are designed to anticipate problems so we can prepare for them effectively.
But in modern life, we often worry about things we have no control over whatsoever.
Exactly. So, a key part of disciplined thinking is distinguishing between productive and unproductive worry clearly.
What's the difference between those two types of worry? Can you explain that for us?
Sure, productive worry leads to action, like worrying about a test so you study harder for it.
And unproductive worry is just spinning your wheels without taking any actual steps to solve anything.
Right, like worrying about whether people will like you at a party you're attending next week.
Haha, I've definitely done that before. It doesn't help anything, but it's hard to stop somehow.
So, the technique here is to ask yourself, can I do something about this concern right now?
And if the answer is yes, you make a plan and take action immediately or soon.
But if the answer is no, you practice letting go of that thought and redirecting your attention.
That sounds simple, but I imagine it takes a lot of practice to actually do successfully.
Oh, definitely. Disciplining your thinking is a skill, and like any skill, it requires consistent practice over time.
So we shouldn't expect to be perfect at it right away when we first start trying.
Exactly. Even just noticing when your thoughts are unproductive is a huge step forward in this journey.
Now, let's talk about another aspect of thinking discipline, which is dealing with comparison and jealousy.
Oh, yes, this is so relevant in the age of social media where everyone shares highlights.
Right, we see people's best moments and compare them to our own everyday, regular experiences constantly.
And that creates a lot of negative thinking patterns that make us feel inadequate or behind.
So, how do we discipline our thinking when we feel jealous of someone else's success or life?
First, recognize that you're only seeing a small, curated portion of their actual real-life experience here.
That's true. Nobody posts about their failures, struggles, or boring moments on Instagram or Facebook usually.
Exactly. So remind yourself that comparison is between your full reality and their edited highlight reel only.
That's a really helpful perspective. What else can we do to manage these comparison thoughts?
You can practice gratitude by listing things in your own life that you appreciate and value deeply.
Gratitude is powerful. It shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have.
Right, and studies show that practicing gratitude regularly actually rewires your brain over time for happiness.
That's amazing. So it's not just about feeling good temporarily, but actually changing your brain's structure.
Exactly. Your brain creates new neural pathways based on what you repeatedly think about every single day.
So if we consistently practice disciplined thinking, we're literally reshaping our brains physically over time here.
Yes, This concept is called neuroplasticity, which means the brain's ability to change and adapt throughout life.
Neuroplasticity. Let's break that down too. Neuro means related to nerves or the brain system.
And plasticity means the ability to be molded or shaped into different forms, like plastic material.
So, neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to be reshaped based on your experiences and thoughts completely.
Perfect. Now, another important element of thinking discipline is managing your mental energy levels throughout the day.
Mental energy? What do you mean by that exactly? Can you explain it more clearly, please?
Sure, just like physical energy, you have mental energy that gets depleted as you make decisions daily.
Oh, I've definitely experienced that. By evening, I can't think clearly or make good choices anymore.
That's called decision fatigue, and it's a real phenomenon that affects everyone who makes many choices.
So, how does this relate to disciplining our thinking? What's the connection between these two concepts?
Well, disciplined thinking requires mental energy, so you need to manage when you do important thinking carefully.
That makes sense. So, we should tackle our most important thinking tasks early in the day.
Exactly. Your mental energy is highest in the morning after a good night's rest and sleep.
And we should avoid making important decisions late at night when we're tired and mentally drained.
Right. That's when our thinking discipline is weakest and we're more likely to make poor choices.
This is such practical advice. What else can we do to preserve our mental energy better?
You can reduce unnecessary decisions by creating routines and habits for regular daily tasks and activities.
Like wearing the same type of outfit every day so you don't waste energy deciding.
Exactly. Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg are famous for doing that for this exact reason here.
That's interesting. So, creating habits actually helps us discipline our thinking by saving mental energy completely.
Yes, when something becomes a habit, your brain does it automatically without using much energy.
So, we should make disciplined thinking itself a habit that we practice every single day consistently.
Exactly. Set aside time daily to check in with your thoughts and practice these techniques regularly.
Now, what about dealing with overthinking? I know many English learners struggle with this problem a lot.
Oh, overthinking is a huge challenge. It's when you analyze or worry about something excessively.
Yeah, like when you replay a conversation over and over, thinking about what you should have said.
We've all done that. It's especially common for people learning a new language like English.
So, how do we discipline our thinking to avoid getting trapped in these overthinking loops?
One technique is called the 2-minute rule for thoughts that keep repeating in your mind.
The 2-minute rule? How does that work exactly? Can you walk us through it step by step?
Sure, when a thought keeps coming back, you allow yourself exactly 2 minutes to think about it.
And during those 2 minutes, you really examine the thought thoroughly and make a decision if needed.
Exactly. Then, when the 2 minutes are up, you consciously redirect your attention to something else.
What if the thought comes back later? Do you give it another 2 minutes then?
No, you remind yourself that you already gave it attention and consciously let it go again.
That takes discipline, but I can see how it would help break the overthinking cycle.
It does. Your brain learns that it doesn't need to keep bringing up the same thought.
Now, let's discuss the role of meditation in disciplining your thinking because people mention it often.
Great topic. Meditation is basically exercise for your brain, training it to focus and stay present.
I've tried meditation before, but I found it really hard to sit still and quiet my mind.
That's completely normal. Everyone struggles with meditation at first because our minds are so active and busy.
So, what should beginners know about meditation to help them get started with it properly?
First, understand that meditation isn't about stopping all thoughts or having a completely blank mind ever.
Really, I always thought the goal was to have no thoughts at all during meditation sessions.
No, that's a common misconception. The goal is to notice your thoughts without getting caught up.
So, when a thought appears during meditation, you just observe it and let it pass by.
Exactly. You might think of it like watching clouds pass across the sky without chasing them.
That's a beautiful metaphor. So meditation trains you to have the same awareness throughout your day.
Right. You start noticing your thoughts in regular life and choosing which ones to follow carefully.
How long should someone meditate each day to see benefits in their thinking discipline and awareness?
Research shows that even just 10 minutes daily can make a significant difference in brain function.
That's encouraging. I think most people can find 10 minutes in their schedule for meditation practice.
Absolutely. And you can start with even just 5 minutes if 10 feels too overwhelming initially.
What about breathing exercises? Are those helpful for disciplining your thinking and managing stress too?
Oh, yes. Breathing exercises are incredibly powerful for calming your mind and regulating your emotions quickly.
Can you teach us a simple breathing exercise that our listeners can try right now?
Sure, try the 4-7-8 breath, which is great for reducing anxiety and racing thoughts immediately.
How does it work? Walk us through the steps so everyone can practice along with you.
First, breathe in through your nose for a count of 4 seconds while keeping your mouth closed.
Okay, so 4 seconds breathing in. Got it. What happens next in this breathing technique?
Then hold your breath for 7 seconds, which gives your body time to absorb the oxygen.
And after holding for 7 seconds, what do we do with the breath we're holding?
You exhale completely through your mouth for 8 seconds, making a whooshing sound if you want.
So it's 4, 7, 8. 4 seconds in, 7 seconds hold, 8 seconds out, right?
Perfect. And you can repeat this cycle 3 or 4 times whenever you feel stressed or overwhelmed.
That's so simple. How does this breathing pattern help discipline our thinking and calm our minds?
The longer exhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which calms your body and mind down.
Parasympathetic nervous system. That's another big term. Let's explain it for our listeners here, please.
Sure, your nervous system has 2 main parts, sympathetic, which creates stress, and parasympathetic, which creates calm.
So the sympathetic system is like the gas pedal in a car, speeding things up.
Exactly. And the parasympathetic system is like the brake pedal, slowing everything down and relaxing you.
So this breathing exercise presses the brake pedal, helping us calm down and think more clearly.
Right. And when you're calm, it's much easier to discipline your thinking and make good decisions.
Now, what about the role of physical exercise in mental discipline? Is there a connection there?
Absolutely. Physical exercise has huge benefits for your brain health and your ability to think clearly.
Really? How does moving your body affect your brain function and thinking patterns so significantly?
When you exercise, your brain releases chemicals called endorphins that improve your mood and reduce stress.
Endorphins are those feel-good chemicals that people talk about, right? The natural high from exercise.
Exactly. Exercise also increases blood flow to your brain, bringing more oxygen and nutrients to it.
And I've heard that exercise can actually grow new brain cells. Is that true?
Yes, aerobic exercise promotes neurogenesis, which is the creation of new neurons in your brain structure.
Neurogenesis. Let's break that down. Neuro means brain and genesis means creation or beginning, right?
Perfect. So neurogenesis literally means the birth or creation of new brain cells throughout your life.
That's incredible. So exercise literally makes your brain bigger and better at thinking and learning new things.
Exactly. Studies show that regular exercise improves memory, focus, and overall cognitive function significantly over time.
How much exercise do we need to get these brain benefits? Do we need hours daily?
Not at all. Even just 30 minutes of moderate exercise most days provides significant brain benefits.
That's doable for most people. What counts as moderate exercise for getting these mental benefits?
Anything that raises your heart rate, like brisk walking, jogging, cycling, swimming around, or dancing around.
Dancing counts. That's my favorite way to exercise. It's fun and good for my brain.
Absolutely. The best exercise is whatever you'll actually do consistently, so choose something you enjoy doing.
Now, let's talk about sleep and its role in disciplining our thinking, because I know it's important.
Oh, sleep is absolutely crucial. Your brain needs sleep to process information and consolidate memories properly.
What happens to our thinking when we don't get enough quality sleep at night regularly?
Without enough sleep, your prefrontal cortex doesn't function well, which affects decision-making and impulse control completely.
The prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain behind your forehead, right? What does it do?
Yes, it's responsible for executive functions like planning, decision-making, and controlling your impulses and emotions.
So when we're sleep deprived, we literally can't discipline our thinking as well as we normally could.
Exactly. That's why everything feels harder and more overwhelming when you haven't slept enough hours.
How many hours of sleep do adults need to maintain good thinking, discipline, and brain function?
Most adults need 7 to 9 hours per night, though individual needs vary slightly from person to person.
And what about sleep quality? Is that as important as the total number of hours?
Yes, quality matters just as much. Deep sleep and REM sleep are crucial for brain health.
REM sleep is when we dream, right? Why is that stage so important for our brains?
During REM sleep, your brain processes emotions and consolidates procedural memories from the day's experiences.
Procedural memories are things like how to ride a bike or play an instrument, correct?
Exactly. So if you're learning English, getting good REM sleep helps your brain solidify new language skills.
That's fascinating. So pulling all-nighters to study actually hurts your learning more than it helps.
Completely true. Your brain needs sleep to transfer information from short-term memory to long-term memory storage.
What are some practical tips for improving sleep quality to support better thinking and learning?
First, keep a consistent sleep schedule by going to bed and waking up at the same times daily.
Even on weekends, I usually like to sleep in on Saturdays and Sundays to catch up.
Try to keep it within an hour of your regular schedule because big shifts mess up your rhythm.
Okay, that makes sense. What other tips do you have for better sleep and brain health?
Avoid screens for at least an hour before bed because the blue light disrupts your natural sleep hormones.
Blue light from phones and computers? Why does that specific light color affect sleep so much?
Blue light tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime, which suppresses melatonin production in your body.
Melatonin is the hormone that makes you feel sleepy and ready for bed, right?
Exactly. So using screens before bed makes it harder to fall asleep and reduces sleep quality overall.
What should we do instead during that hour before bed to help us wind down properly?
You could read a physical book, listen to calming music, do gentle stretching, or practice meditation.
Those all sound relaxing. Now, let's discuss the impact of what we consume on our thinking discipline, because I know it's important.
Great point. What you consume, including food, information, and media, directly affects your thinking patterns and mood.
Let's start with food. How does what we eat affect our ability to think clearly daily?
Your brain uses about 20% of your body's energy, so it needs good fuel to function well.
What foods are best for brain health and maintaining focused, disciplined thinking throughout the day?
Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids like fish, walnuts, and flax seeds are excellent for brain function.
Why are omega-3 fatty acids so important for our brain specifically? What do they do?
They're building blocks for brain cells and help with communication between neurons in your brain structure.
What about foods we should avoid if we want to maintain good thinking discipline?
Limit refined sugar and processed foods because they cause energy crashes that make focused thinking really difficult.
I've definitely experienced that crash after eating too much sugar. It makes my brain feel foggy.
Exactly. Your blood sugar spikes and then drops, taking your mental clarity and energy with it.
Now, what about the information and media we consume? How does that affect our thinking?
Just like junk food affects your body, junk information affects your mind and shapes your thinking patterns.
What counts as junk information? Can you give some examples so we understand clearly?
Sensationalist news, gossip, negative social media content, and anything designed to provoke outrage or fear unnecessarily.
So a lot of what's on social media and news sites falls into this category?
Unfortunately, yes. These platforms are designed to grab attention through emotional manipulation and sensational content constantly.
So how do we discipline our thinking when we're surrounded by this kind of information everywhere?
Be intentional about what you consume. Choose high-quality sources and limit time on platforms that make you anxious.
That's good advice. What about positive information? Should we actively seek out uplifting content and stories?
Absolutely. Consuming inspiring, educational content helps train your brain to think in more constructive and optimistic ways.
Now, let's talk about the company we keep and how other people affect our thinking discipline.
Oh, this is so important. The people around you have a huge influence on your thoughts and behavior.
Really? How do other people affect our thinking so much, even if we're trying to be independent?
Humans are social creatures, and we unconsciously mirror the attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors of people around us.
So, if we spend time with negative people, we're more likely to develop negative thinking patterns ourselves?
Exactly. It's hard to maintain disciplined, positive thinking when you're constantly surrounded by negativity and complaints.
What should we do if we have negative people in our lives that we can't avoid?
Set boundaries and limit your exposure when possible, and be very conscious of not absorbing their negativity.
That makes sense. And I suppose we should also seek out positive, growth-minded people intentionally.
Yes, surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and support your growth and development.
How do we find these kinds of people? Where should we look for positive influences in our lives?
Join communities around your interests, take classes, attend workshops, or find online groups focused on personal growth.
That's practical advice. Now, what about setting specific goals for improving our thinking discipline over time?
Goals are essential. Without clear targets, it's hard to know if you're making progress or where to focus.
What kind of goals should someone set for developing better thinking discipline? Can you give examples?
You might set a goal to meditate 10 minutes daily or to challenge 3 negative thoughts per day.
Those are specific and measurable. Should we write these goals down somewhere to track our progress?
Definitely. Writing goals down makes them more real and helps you stay accountable to yourself over time.
What about tracking our progress? How do we know if our thinking discipline is actually improving?
Keep a journal where you note your thoughts, feelings, and progress on your goals each day or week.
And I suppose we should also review this journal periodically to see patterns and improvements, right?
Exactly. Maybe once a week, look back and notice what's changed in your thinking and awareness levels.
Now, what happens when we fail or slip up in our thinking discipline? How should we handle that?
Setbacks are completely normal and expected. Disciplining your thinking is a lifelong practice, not a destination you reach.
So we shouldn't beat ourselves up when we have a day of negative or undisciplined thinking.
Not at all. Remember what we said earlier about self-compassion being more effective than harsh self-criticism.
Right, so we acknowledge the setback, learn from it, and then gently redirect ourselves back on track.
Perfect. That's exactly the right approach to maintaining progress without getting discouraged or giving up entirely.
This has been such a valuable conversation. Let's summarize the main points for our listeners quickly.
Great idea. First, disciplining your thinking means becoming aware of and controlling your thought patterns every day.
Second, challenge negative thoughts by looking for evidence and reframing them more constructively and helpfully.
Third, focus through techniques like the Pomodoro method to strengthen your concentration muscles over time.
Fourth, change your inner dialogue from harsh criticism to supportive, constructive feedback that helps you grow.
Fifth, distinguish between productive and unproductive worry, taking action on what you can control and releasing everything else.
Sixth, practice gratitude and avoid comparing your reality to other people's highlight reels on social media platforms.
Seventh, manage your mental energy by doing important thinking early and creating habits to reduce decision fatigue over time.
Eighth, use the 2-minute rule to break free from overthinking loops that keep you stuck mentally.
Ninth, practice meditation and breathing exercises to train your brain to stay present and calm under pressure.
10th, exercise regularly because physical movement directly improves your brain function and thinking ability significantly.
11th, prioritize quality sleep because your brain needs it to process information and maintain good thinking discipline.
12th, be intentional about what you consume, including food, information, and media, choosing quality over quantity always.
And finally, surround yourself with positive people who support your growth and inspire better thinking patterns daily.
Wow, that's a comprehensive list. If someone feels overwhelmed, where should they start with all this?
Just pick 1 or 2 practices that resonate with you and start there, building slowly over time.
Remember, small, consistent actions are more effective than trying to change everything at once and getting overwhelmed.
Absolutely. Disciplining your thinking is a marathon, not a sprint, so be patient with yourself throughout this journey.
And celebrate small wins along the way. Notice when you catch a negative thought or stay focused longer.
Yes, these small victories build momentum and motivation to keep improving your thinking discipline every single day.
Before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts or advice for our listeners today?
Just remember that your thoughts create your reality, so learning to discipline them is incredibly powerful for success.
And don't forget, you're not trying to be perfect. You're just trying to be a little better today.
That's beautiful. Progress, not perfection, should be your motto as you work on disciplining your thinking patterns.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for listening to Speak Next English podcast today. We hope this helps.
If you found this conversation valuable, please subscribe and share it with your friends who are learning English.
And leave us a comment telling us which technique you're going to try first in your life.
We love hearing from you. Your feedback helps us create better content for English learners around the world.
Also, remember to practice these techniques in English to improve both your thinking and your language skills.
Exactly. You can keep a thought journal in English or practice the breathing exercises while counting in English.
That's a great way to combine thinking discipline practice with your English learning goals simultaneously and effectively.
And if you want more conversations like this, check out our other episodes on various topics for learners.
We cover everything from personal development to practical English skills, all through natural conversations like this one.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and most importantly, keep disciplining your thinking for a better life.
See you in the next episode of Speak Next English podcast. Take care, everyone, and happy learning always.
Bye, everyone. Remember, your mind is your most powerful tool, so train it well every single day.
Goodbye, and don't forget, small daily improvements in your thinking lead to massive changes over time eventually.